And we're here with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake, and today we're looking at Mafia 2, the definitive edition, which was like a surprise release yesterday. Now this is just a really quick look. It was released on consoles yesterday for $30 and it's on Steam. This footage here is the PC version. If you own the original Mafia 2 on Steam, apparently it gets upgraded for free. It's this cleaned up, remastered version, but with significant flaws, especially if you're playing on PC. There, I think the PC crowd will find some disappointment, and I know there's a big Mafia fan base there, which I'll get to in a minute. If you're on PS4 or Xbox, from what we can see, it's pretty much a fresh way to access and play the game, and it will look decent, and cleaner on your TV, but it's still just not quite as up to par as you'd expect or hope. I wish they spent more time on this remaster, because Mafia 2, when it first released back in 2010, was such a good game. It's still a great story-based linear single-player game. Like, there's not many out there like this. I just wish that this version of it brought more improvements and less drawbacks. Because I'll start off positive. Most of my complaints are technical. The core game itself, to me, seems safe and sound from what I've played. Cutscenes are cinematic and interesting and look a little better. The chase sequences and the driving is fun and thrilling. Even if you might not really like the controls or the control options, I know everybody has a different opinion on the driving in this game. And, the game is all there, plus the added DLC side story stuff that you can access from the main menu. They even fixed a few game-breaking bugs I used to have on the PC version, which I do appreciate. I really wish they took the time to clean up the third-person shooting, though. It didn't really feel too hot back then, and it still feels a little mushy today. Some of the guns just don't have the impact or the feel that you want. It's just kind of loose. Still, what you get is a great post-World War II mafia story about a young Vito Scaletta coming home from the war and jumping into this life of organized crime. You rise through the ranks and, become like a mafia badass, all while getting into some really fun Goodfellas-style hijinks and doing heists and stuff along the way. It's an open-world city of this fictional Empire Bay, kind of modeled off of New York with a couple of other influences. And all things considered, it does look really good here. The city itself, it's sharper. It seems like there's some improved lighting, which makes a nice difference in the environment, especially with just some improved textures, which aren't super noticeable, but are definitely at least there in spots, The beauty of it is that it's an open world city with different districts and clothing stores for you to shop at and buy, garages to access to customize and tune up the vehicles you hijack. And it's got all that, but essentially it plays out as way more of a linear game than you'd expect. The first time I played this game when it released, I thought actually that part of it was a little bit of a letdown because it had very little open world elements, but now in 2020, it actually feels like a refreshing change of pace and a nice focus on story. The open world city is there as this loving atmospheric backdrop. It plays a specific role, and you can enjoy it however you want, if you want to. Plus the incredible licensed music, all of the time period centric details, the atmosphere, everything is like a really fun, interactive Mafia movie. I still wholeheartedly, straight up recommend Mafia 2 as a must play if you've never touched it. Straight up. Now, for the bad stuff, like I said, it's all technical stuff. I'm not Digital Foundry, full disclosure. I can't analyze the graphics frame by frame. For that, I do recommend some other highly qualified folks. But for me, going by feel, at a glance, it's a bummer that the PS4, Xbox versions aren't 60 frames per second. The sharper image is great. The game doesn't look like it has a murky filter over it anymore, but for a straightforward game like this, I was hoping for higher frame rates. Thankfully, with the PC version, you can have that pretty easily, but it still feels like a small jump in quality. There's stronger anti-aliasing, more filtering, and general hardware support stuff, but it feels like a lot for a big install and higher system requirements. Side by side, the difference is slight. better textures, of course, kinda, some noticeable lighting in some places, like I mentioned with the environments. Some characters, like Joe and Vito in particular, do look much cleaner, but the cracks really show on some less important characters. But, I'll say the PC version was already solid looking, the classic version, and mods had made it look even better. Also, some things aren't fixed, like character heads really look placed on their bodies sometimes, kind of like an action figure, specifically in cutscenes. Also, the pop-in is noticeably not very good. Cars and their headlights seemingly appear out of nowhere, not too far down the road right in front of you. There's some weird decisions with physics, and I've seen reports of some players having issues getting it to run on their machine. I just hope a lot of this stuff is patched because, yeesh. I am still happy to have like a slightly better looking version of the game on my machine, but I just wish it was a little bit more finely tuned, This technical graphic stuff might sound like nitpicking to some of you, and it absolutely is, it is. But with a new and improved version of an older game comes some expectations on the technical side, and I think Mafia 2 Definitive stumbles a bit. Hopefully they iron out some kinks a bit through patches, but especially on the side of console players hoping for something to operate like a well-oiled machine, I'm disappointed. Still, it was a surprise launch yesterday, and we wanted to take a quick look here. And honestly, it's a really good excuse to just talk about the Mafia games, which we don't talk about enough on here. You should absolutely still play Mafia 2, whether you play the classic version on Steam. Honestly, I'm talking more to the harder core fans. They're going to be a little disappointed with some small things here and there, but if you've never played Mafia, I think you'll feel right at home, and I still think you'll enjoy this. No bullshit, straight up. But that's a quick before you buy. You know how this goes by now. I'll give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion. And now I want to hear yours down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this game, this series. Also, let us know if you want more Mafia videos, because we're excited, and hopefully, the original Mafia 1 remake turns out good. The developers, Hangar 13, really have big shoes to fill, but we'll wait and see. I want to know what you guys think about the series, this version in particular. Let us know anything at all. If you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something though, clicking the like button does help us out. We would really, really appreciate that. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.